Hey, good morning, folks. So this morning I'm out in some property that's it's a pine forest. A lot of the area here, once you get inland and away from the rivers, this is the type of environment you'll find. Both native pines and planted pines. This is a little bit of a mix. I'm right on the edge of the property. It's kind of been taken over by a lot of the native plants. There's another guy growing out here right now. It's late September. Uh, that wasn't looking for, just happened up on. So I'm gonna take the opportunity. It's a type of chanterelle mushroom called a cinnabar. Been finding a lot of them this year. I guess it's a little bit wetter than usual, but this is a type of environment you find most of them around here in um, growing around these pines and these yew pond. So anytime I'm in an area like this, I kind of keep my eyes out for them. They're really easy to spot, really bright orange. They stick out, so they're not difficult to see and to forage. Really easy to identify. Don't really have any lookalikes that are poisonous here. So I'm gonna get down. I've got to kind of crawl under this little area here to get to them, but I'm gonna flip this around and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So these are the cinnabars I was talking about. These really bright orange mushrooms growing amongst all this straw. You can look all back in there. Even let me get down. There's dozens of them in here. They orange caps, orange. Let's see if I can get that to focus. Orange false the current gills on them. There's nothing. We don't have anything else around here that looks like that. If you're familiar with chanterelles, it's going to look instantly identifiable to you. But I don't really have anything planned for these, but they freeze well. So I'm going to take the opportunity while they're in here. There's dozens of them in here. So I'm going to take the opportunity to go ahead and bag me up some. Either do something with them this afternoon. If not, I'll saute them in a little olive oil, about half done, and stick them in a baggie, get all the air out of it, and freeze them. They keep really well. Cinnabar, chanterelle. A little patch of them. These are some really nice ones. Put that down there for scale. A little bigger than that other patch, or some a little bit past their prime. Leave those. Try to get much of this stuff off of them before I cut them. That way they're not too much to clean here. Look at how pretty those are. There, it's picking up the orange now. Fantastic find. A lot of little ones coming up. Just about the size of half a nickel. I'm gonna leave those and not come back and get them, so we'll have some more next time they decide to come out. Really nice flush of these things. Look, they're just all back through all those. All back through these pines. Here, look at all of them along there. Awesome. This is great. There's hundreds of these things. Every time I take a step, come up on another patch of them, and it's not just one or two, it's dozens of them. It's about everywhere you look. Everywhere. These things, now these are a little old. You see, there's some good ones back there. But I've got a couple of cups already harvested, so I'm gonna leave the rest of these. I got enough for a couple of meals, so I'm gonna leave these. Let them. That's their method of reproduction. So want them here again next year or later this year. So leave a nice bunch of them out here. Well, I gathered up a nice mess of those mushrooms this morning. Those little orange cinnabars. Really didn't have a plan when I found them. What I was going to do with them, I figured I'd just prep them and freeze them for later. But as I was headed home, I was passing a little shrimp seafood place we've got south of town here that strictly deals in fresh seafood, mostly shrimp, called the Shrimp Lady. And anytime I'm coming by and she's got her truck pulled in unloading, I always stop, man, because she's been down getting shrimp off the shrimp boats down along the coast there, and bringing it up here, and she sells it way cheaper than any of these other retailers when you start getting into the beach areas. So when I see her, I stop. If you guys are ever coming through, coming down 71 headed to Cape San Blas or Apalachicola, and you see the Shrimp Lady there south of Weewa, stop. You'll be glad you did. Always really, really fresh stuff. But I got a couple of couple of pounds of not quite single count shrimp. They're really big, probably a U15 size shrimp. Really fresh, almost still kicking. She just unloaded them. But I figured I'd do something with those and those mushrooms. Not really sure what. But this afternoon I'm out here trying to get a handle on these raised beds. They've gotten out of control. These were some summertime beds. I had some tomatoes, some basil, eggplant. What else did we have in here? Oh, some peppers and some onions, but I hadn't messed with them in a few weeks, and they've grown up, and most everything's dead. But I was fixing to pull all this stuff out, and there's still some basil left. This isn't in really good shape. There's some over here that's actually completely dead, and the leaves are shot. I hate I missed that. There's some more on this bed over here, a lot better shape, but they need to go. But I think what I'm gonna do is do something with this basil. And there's actually 3 or 4 pretty nice eggplants left on this plant, so I think I've got the makings of something good for supper this evening. You can see this basil's really, a lot of it's shot, but there's still some decent stuff on there. So I think I'm going to use this to make some pesto. But there's some pretty nice eggplants left on. There's several over there. Pretty nice eggplants left on these. So I'm gonna, there's a couple more over there. I'm going to gather this stuff up. This plant's in another bed, and it's looking really good. It's got some really nice leaves. It's actually spawned off some volunteers here, so I'm gonna get this all cleaned up too. But there's a lot of really nice basil on this one. So I think what I'm gonna do is just take a little bit of time and make me up a big batch of it, and show you guys what I do with the extra. So this is what we got to work with. Some of the fresh shrimp I picked up this afternoon on the way home from the Shrimp Lady. Eggplants out of the garden. I got 3 of the nice ones. There's actually several small ones still on there growing, so I'm gonna leave that thing. See, let it produce as long as I can. Picked what I eyeballed was about 4 cups of fresh basil. I got some fresh garlic there. In our beautiful cinnabar channel, that's still a little wet. I kind of washed everything off, let it dry. So what I'm going to do is, I like to salt purge the eggplant. So what I'm going to do is slice it, peel it, salt each side, and let it set. You'll see it weeping pretty good. Dry out some moisture, kind of thick looking stuff. I wash that off. To me, it makes if the eggplant's got a little bitter to it, it cleans it out. I'm going to grill these things, so they do a little bit better if you do a salt purge on them. The basil, I'm going to make a pesto with. So my basic recipe is just it's easy to remember. It's all got a 2 in each one of the ingredients. So 2 cups of basil, to 2 tablespoons of pine nuts, to 2 cloves of garlic, 1/2 cup of extra virgin olive oil, and 1/2 cup fresh grated Parmesan cheese, all in the food processor, blended up nice, the consistency that you want. So what I've got now is the shrimp completely done, combined with the garlic butter and mushrooms that were in the other little skillet back there. The heat's turned off to them. I've also turned the heat off to our eggplant, a grilled eggplant, which is done. The heat's turned off to this. We've got our fresh pesto, and I'm just going to add a little bit, just a couple of dollops, right to the shrimp and the mushrooms here. And I've got the heat off, so here's what we've got. We've got the grilled eggplant, the sauteed shrimp and mushrooms tossed with the homemade pesto, all served together. Get you kind of your little pasta fix without the pasta. Look at there. Smells awesome. Should be fantastic. The pesto turned out really well. Here's what I do with all the rest of it that's left over. Stick it in ice cube tray and put it in the freezer, and it'll last for months. And each little cube is about a serving. So for me and my wife, I usually pop 2 of those out if we want to toss it with some linguine or do something like this with it. But look how pretty those cinnabars are with those big fresh Gulf shrimp. Pretty easy recipe. Once you get the pesto made, it's quick. The whole thing didn't take cooking, probably maybe 10-12 minutes for that. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.